to another Ancestry album video. Today I will be covering one of my favorite ancestries in Pathfinder 2e, the Tengu, otherwise known as bird people in all their glory. They weren't covered that well in Pathfinder 1st edition, but I'm glad to see we get a lot more information about them in Pathfinder 2e. Tengu hatch from eggs and are featherless for the first year of their life, during which they rarely leave home. They eventually grow a gray down of feathers that eventually turns into a dark covering at 15 years old. This is around the time that those who wish to adventure do so. Tengus are extremely social beings, even forming communities with those of other ancestries. Tengu are usually divided into two different groups, those in the roost and those migrating. Your in the roost Tengus tend to be more traditional and conservative, while migrating Tengus are more apt to absorb the culture of their cities and settlements that they call home. One thing I love about Tengu in this edition is that no longer do they all have the same type of beak. No, their beaks are as varied as they are. So let's move on to the basic mechanics of this ancestry. Tengus get 6 ancestry hit points and have a speed of 25 feet. For ability boost, they get dexterity and a freebie with no ability flaw. For languages, they get Common and Tengu, as well as languages equal to their int modifier. Tengu have low light vision and a sharp beak that deals 1d6 piercing damage and is in the Brawling Weapon group. It has the Finesse and Unarmed traits. Now to Tengu heritages. First is the Jinx Tengu. Your lineage has been exposed to curse after curse, and now they slide off your feathers like rain. If you succeed at a saving throw against a curse or misfortune effect, you get a critical success instead. When you gain the Doom condition, attempt a DC 17 flat check. On a success, reduce the value of the Doom condition you would gain by 1. Good if you're going up against a lot of witches and hags, who, as some of you may know, love their curses and misfortune effects. Next is the Mountain Keeper Tengu. You come from a line of Tengu aesthetics, leaving you with a link to the spirits of the world and the great beyond. You can cast the Disrupt Undead cantrip as an innate primal spell at will. This cantrip is heightened like any other cantrip, half your level rounded up in spell levels. Each time you cast a spell from a Tengu heritage or ancestry feat, you can decide whether it's divine or primal. This is an interesting one, but not that great unless you know you're going to be going up against a lot of undead. The third heritage that Tengu can have is the Skyborn Tengu. You never take any fall damage, regardless of how far you fall. So you can fall off a cliff and not be wounded at all from the fall. You could still take damage from other things, such as hitting a tree on the way down, but not from the fall itself. Next is the Storm Toss Tengu. You gain electricity resistance equal to half your level with a minimum of 1. You automatically succeed at the flat check to target a concealed creature if that creature is concealed only by rain or fog. This could be a really good heritage. Electricity is almost as common of a damage type as fire is, and while rain and fog isn't that common in the game, being able to ignore it when it comes to the concealed condition is pretty good. The last heritage that you can take as a Tengu is the Taloned Tengu. Your talons are every bit as sharp and strong as your beak. You gain a Talon's unarmed attack that deals 1d4 slashing damage. Your talons are in the Brawling group and have the Agile, Finesse, Unarmed, and Versatile piercing traits. This just gives you another unarmed attack in addition to your beak. Now let's talk about ancestry feats, because we have to talk about those, right? Let's start with first level feats. First is Scavenger Search. You're always on the lookout for supplies and valuables. Each time you use the Seek action to search for objects, which includes secret doors and hazards, you can search for objects in your choice of a 10-foot emanation around you, or an adjacent 15-foot by 15-foot area, rather than a single adjacent 10-foot by 10-foot area. Because in this system, when you are searching for something, you're normally searching squares at a time. But with this feat, you can search much better than that. Next is Squawk. As a reaction, if you crit fail a Diplomacy, Deception, or Intimidation check against a creature that is not a Tengu, you can cover up that faux pas with some bird-like tick. such as, well, squawking. You fail the triggering check instead of crit failing it. However, all creatures that witness this bird-like tick are immune to this feat for 1 full day. The third feat that first level Tengu have access to is the Storm's Lash feat. This just gives you Electric Arc as a primal innate cantrip that you can cast at will. That's it. Pretty simple. It is heightened like all other cantrips, so it's a pretty good feat. Tengu lore works like other lore feats from other ancestries. You gain Society and Survival as trained skills, as well as Tengu lore. That's it. Getting 3 skills will always be good, especially when they are used as much as Society and Survival are. The last feat for first level Tengus is the Tengu Weapon Familiarity feat. You gain access to Kakaras. I think I pronounced that correctly. Additionally, choose 2 weapons from the sword weapon group. You can choose from all common martial swords, plus the Katana, Temple Sword, and Wakizashi. For the purposes of determining your proficiency, that weapon is a simple weapon, and if the weapon isn't common, you gain access to it. If you are trained in all martial weapons, you can add common advanced swords to the swords you can choose from. You can also gain access to all uncommon Tengu weapons. And of course, martial Tengu weapons are simple weapons for you, and advanced Tengu weapons are martial weapons for you. Pretty standard feat, although it's a little bit better than the others, because you can pick from a whole list of swords, rather than just specific weapons like the other weapon familiarity feats. Next up is 5th level feats. First we have the Eat Fortune feat. As a reaction, when a creature within 60 feet uses a fortune or misfortune effect, you can use this feat to disrupt that effect. This effect has the opposite trait from what you disrupt, so if you disrupt a fortune effect, it has the misfortune trait, and vice versa. You cannot use this feat twice on the same roll, even if the effect has the misfortune and fortune traits. You have to pick one or the other. You can use this feat once per day. To you GMs out there, if your halfling player is using halfling luck too much, this is how you stop it sometimes. Long-nosed form allows you to take on a human form, though your nose remains as long as your beak. This counts as creating a disguise for the impersonate use of deception. You lose your beak unarmed strike in this form, as well as any unarmed strikes gained from a Tengu heritage or ancestry feat. But you can remain in this form indefinitely, and can switch back to your Tengu form by using this feat again. Next is One-Toed Hop. This feat allows you to make a vertical leap for one action that doesn't trigger reactions triggered by movement or by leaving a square, such as attacks of opportunity. That's it. Pretty simple. Tengu Weapon Study is a type of feat you will see in a lot of ancestries. It just gives you the crit specialization effects of all weapons covered in the Tengu Weapon Familiarity feat. Pretty standard feats. For 9th level feats, I will start with Eclectic Sword Training. You were always taught that you needed to be able to use whatever weapon came your way. If you have Tengu Weapon Familiarity, you can change any of the swords designated in Tengu Weapon Familiarity to different swords that meet the same specifications. You have to practice with the sword during your daily preparations to designate it, and the designation lasts only until your next daily preparations. This only changes your proficiency, not your access. Soaring Flight is next on my list. If you are a Skyborn Tengu, then for 2 actions once per day, you gain a fly speed equal to your land speed, or 20 feet, whichever is greater, for 5 minutes. I don't know how you would get a land speed of 15 feet, but I'm sure it's possible. The 1/13th level feat for Tengus is the Tengu Weapon Expertise feat. This is just like other weapon expertise feats in other ancestries. Whenever you gain expert or greater proficiency in any weapon, you also gain that proficiency in all weapons covered in Tengu Weapon Familiarity. The last feat for the Tengu ancestry is the 17th level feat, Great Tengu Form. If you have the long-nosed form feat, when you go into that form, you can gain the benefits of a 4th level Enlarge spell and a Fly spell. These spells last for 5 minutes, or until you shift out of that form, whichever comes first. And that's going to wrap up this video. If this video helped you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more Pathfinder 2nd Edition tutorial videos. Next week I will start my Versatile Heritages series with the Changeling. And I will be going over some tips on how to balance encounters in Pathfinder 2e. Also, I need your help, guys. I'm looking to do a video on questions that my viewers have about this system. So please ask me some questions on this system, either in the comments section below or on the Pathfinder Lair Facebook group. Link in the description. So until next time, let's play some Pathfinder. 1, 2, 3.